Hello, everybody. Very welcome to this first lecture in the Openlab series. As we promised, we have a high-level guest today. The head of the IT department is here to greet you. And then we have Alberto connected via Zoom. We will see him later. And Maria could unfortunately not make it today, but David will present in her place. So very welcome, all of you. It's very nice to see that we also have some member state and some non-member state students here with us today as well. Please continue to come. As long as there is space in the room, we're more than happy to host you as well. Okay, so I leave the floor to Enrica.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Who was at the crazy photo yesterday? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, and don't be shy. 1, 2, 3, 4. You were there. I saw you, yeah. We did an impromptu live social media to promote the event today. Hopefully taking place at 4 o'clock. Hopefully. That's what happens when you do live events, right? You have to be very hopeful. Like yesterday was supposed to be a live event, and thank you again for your patience. It was supposed to be 5:45, and then he ended up, being, 6:15 or 6:30. Today was supposed to be at 4, but we lost a beam. So, and, if any of you is a student of physics, you know what losing a beam is. And if you're a computer scientist, you know that if beams don't collide, you get no data. Get that? Yeah. So if you get no data, there is no point in being the data center waiting for the data coming in, right? So you know that this is actually a historical moment for you to be here. I'm sure you've heard it many times, but because this is actually the first school we have in presence again after 2 years. But also because you're witnessing an event today, hopefully, which is the beams colliding at full energy, 13.6 TeV. So again, should happen at 4 o'clock, inshallah, or somewhere around that time. So why am I excited that you're here? Because you all look so young and hopeful. You remind me of many years ago when I used to be young, and I'm still hopeful because I'm like Peter Pan, never grows up. Apart from the fact that as you mentioned, I am now a distinguished guest, and I stand here. But apart from that, I have the same curiosity and energy that I used to have when I was 20, 25. I'm no longer 25, but so I cannot call myself young, but definitely in my spirit I am. You could have seen it yesterday when I was in the thing. I was so excited about doing a live Facebook. I mean, like really, at my age. But yeah. That's how it is. So why am I excited to see you here? In the department, we are, as you know, I don't know if you visited already the data center or... Not yet, okay. So the suspense is building. So, this is quite a mighty place. I didn't know when I arrived. So sorry, I forgot to tell you, why is the third reason I'm really happy that you're here? Because this is the first time I welcome summer students, because this is actually my first summer at CERN. I joined exactly a year ago plus 5 days, but last year summer did not come to Switzerland. It was cold and rainy, and I actually thought of going home in September. And I said, that's it. That's not what I signed up for. But then, it was, I don't know. I got convinced to stay a little longer, and this summer is beautiful, so you're very lucky. If you had come last year, you would have wondered, why am I here? Apart from the fact that CERN is an amazing place. So enjoy every moment of it, not only for the learning experience, but also getting to know people. And I think at having schools in person, the real value is the friendships you strike in here, the connections you make, which hopefully will accompany you for the rest of your career. You will find people that you have a huge affinity with, that can help you continue with your studies, with your choices of career. So take also these opportunities to join others and getting to know them. That's really one of the values of the in-presence. Otherwise, you can learn a lot of the things online. I know that we have also students from Ukraine, one or two.
Yes, we have. We do. We have at least one in the room, I think, and we have probably someone connected via Zoom.
Right. So we know the situation is quite is difficult. So I think that's also quite remarkable. So what did I want to say? Well, I'm sure that Alberto and others have told you how lucky you are, how good and lucky you are of the many people who applied for this sessions. You're the few selected ones. So that should say a lot about you, about your commitment, about your, I'm sure about your statements made a big difference in your applications. So there is a lot of relying on you, but you also study and work very hard during the year. So again, you're here in Geneva. It's a beautiful weather. You're making friends. You're making connections. Don't be shy of playing soccer or frisbee in the park, and getting to know people outside of the classrooms. I think that's really important. I had, as you could tell, I had a lot of fun in my life. And for those of you who met me in the barbecue, when someone said there is a clear sign of ill-spent youth in you, and yes, there was. But there is always time to be serious. Look at me. I end up being serious eventually. Not yet. What else do I need to tell them? How lucky they are. I told them how blessed they are. How lucky you are to also meet me. Many people would like to do that. What else do I need to tell them? Oh, that you are the future. I told you this. One day you'll be here in my place if you haven't found anything better to do. I'm just kidding. This is like my dream job. I've always wanted to come to CERN. I don't know why, because I'm not a physicist. I don't understand anything. But it was just like the mysteries that were. Alberto, are you there? He actually knows this stuff, so he knows.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, Alberto is really the clever one in here. He knows about physics. He knows a lot of stuff. Look, he's underneath in the tunnel, fixing the beams, right? With his bare hands, he's also an engineer. I mean, he's really the mind here. I'm just the face, right?
Does anybody know what this is?
Yeah. That's how serious.
This is
yeah.
Doctor Who Sonic Driver.
Yeah.
So there you see how.
That should tell you how serious we are. And this is why working at CERN, this is also for us, it's a recruitment moment, right? Working at CERN, you have the pleasure of working with crazy people like this, who never grew up, right? Despite being an aviation engineer and a PhD, and I don't know what you have it, and sitting down there, he still sits with Doctor Who things, and I tell story about. So this is a place for those of you who are really clever, right? Like Alberto and I, and all my colleagues from CERN, but also have this unquenchable thirst and appetite for doing cool things and great things. This is the place to be. So not that I'm encouraging young people to apply, but yes, I am. Because this is a place where if in your career you want to include something in a place that makes a difference to fundamental research, to physics that then gets applied not only to physics, but beyond that, I'm sure you will learn a lot about all the other great applications of the technology we develop here. It's quite a remarkable place. So, as I said, I've only been here 1 year, but I'm sure that Alberto will tell you what it is to be here for 45 years. It's actually, this is what happens. He does the Doctor Who things and says he's actually 76.
Well,
he looks very young, huh?
If this is the result, it's fine. I like it. Radiations are well.
Exactly, and we sell it in the gift shop. Just use the code IT sent you. Okay, I've joked enough. I can also be a very serious person. And I am serious to say that it is a real honor to have you here. We're really fortunate to have so much interest from young, talented, committed people. And we hope that we'll be able to give you an enjoyable summer and an experience that you will treasure in your quest and your future, careers and your future lives. And as I said, learn, make friends, and just don't forget to have fun in the meantime. Okay? Thank you. Bye-bye.
So I guess it's me. Am I on?
Yes, Alberto. Please go ahead.
Yep. Okay. So thanks, Enrica, for this nice introduction. So who am I? Yes, my name is Alberto Di Meglio. I'm Italian. I've been here at CERN for quite a few years, not 45, not yet, but 22, 23 years, yes. And I've been the director of CERN Openlab for the past 12 years. And I'm also the responsible for innovation in the IT department. So, you have seen that the tone is lightweight. We like indeed to mix, being serious but also enjoying life. It is very important to combine the two things. So in the next few weeks, you will have the opportunity to do both. There are a number of very interesting things, not only enjoying Switzerland, enjoying CERN, enjoying each other. There are a lot of things to do and opportunities for visits that we'll organize for you. But of course, there will be also a lot of serious work. I will give you a glimpse of what CERN Openlab is and what we do. And then, of course, in the coming weeks, you will discover much more. So unfortunately, I cannot be with you today. It's very ironic that I was physically at CERN in the past 2 years where we had to do the summer student program offline, remotely. And the first time we do it again in presence, I'm not there. Bit ironic, but this is life. I will be back in a few days, and certainly I will like to meet you. So my office is always open if you want to talk to me, exchange ideas, introduce each other, and discuss about whatever, science, technology, life. I'm always available. So please do that by all means. So I have a few slides that I would like to show you to tell you a bit about innovation, about what we mean by innovation and how CERN Openlab plays a role in our innovation strategy. So let me start with innovation in particular. So what is innovation? Of course, innovation is a word that is very much used these days. So you can find it anywhere, and innovation is really the engine that powers a lot of activities everywhere in scientific research, but in any in industry and in any aspects of our modern life. And there are many concepts attached to innovation. Okay, and today it's really a very, very rich concept. It was not always the case, but today innovation really is ubiquitous and touches and many aspects of any activity. But what does it mean? So the meaning, the interpretation we take of innovation is what you see here on the screen. So innovation is the process of turning ideas into solutions to generate value. So all these words, this is distilled from all the possible meanings. So this is really, capturing the essence of it. Innovation, first of all, innovation is a process. It's a continuous thing. It's not something that happens in a particular moment. It's very difficult to capture when innovation happens, and it is almost impossible to plan for innovation. You cannot ask a person, tomorrow, please be innovative. It's a continuous activity, it's a continuous state of mind, of curiosity, and of trying to understand how to improve things. Of course, everything starts with an idea, and ideas are, from individuals, from teams, from discussions, from many different ways. By doing something else, by having a coffee together, ideas come out. But ideas per se are not sufficient. Ideas have to be turned into solutions, into services, into products, into software, into actions, into improvements of other processes and methodologies. But again, it cannot stop there. A solution without a problem, that doesn't start from a problem and that doesn't generate value, it doesn't have a lot of sense. So everything has to be together. There must be a continuous activity and state of mind of doing things, improving things, understanding, being curious, having ideas, turning these ideas into solutions, but generate some kind of value. And of course, value is whatever interpretation you want to give to value. Is not just economical and financial value. I mean, this is, interpretation of value is very restrictive, talking about financial or economic value. And that, actually, in our environment, that's not the meaning. Value is scientific value, or new discoveries, or improvement, or better ways of doing things. And it's a mix of everything. So it is very often your interpretation or your organization interpretation of value. All these elements have to be together. Now, there are many models of doing innovation, and humankind have been innovative since the very beginning. We can discuss about the history of science, and I have another very interesting presentation about the scientific paradigms, how human beings started being curious and started inventing things since the very beginning, when they were looking at the sky and trying to understand what that bright object in the sky was. It's a god, is an object, is an emanation of something, up to the modern concept, the fourth or fifth paradigm of doing science today. It's a very interesting discussion. But so innovation has always been there, but only 40, 50 years ago, we started trying to understand what it means to do innovation, how to produce innovation, not how to plan for innovation, but how to produce the conditions for innovation to happen. And it started from very simple concepts. I have an idea and I produce a solution. And then I try to see whether this solution has a problem to be applied to. Now, today, of course, that is not the case. There are a few modern concepts. The one we adopt, the one we use, is the model called open innovation, which is, it's used in many other places, is at the base of many international organizations and many international scientific programs. And essentially, it is based on a process that you see reproduced here. Again, starting from ideas, what is called the ideation process, where any kind of idea is discussed and explored. There are no limits. But then these ideas have to be confronted with reality. What are the opportunities? Is this idea something that can be turned into a solution? What problems are we trying to solve? What users, what communities, what people are we trying to help with these ideas and these solutions? And then, of course, ideas and solutions have to be transformed into action, have to be tested, have to be produced, and you have to confront the solution with all the necessary, even resource aspects. Do we have enough resources, enough money, enough people, enough effort, enough time? And at the end, once your idea has been transformed into a solution, a viable solution, a workable solution, an applicable solution, then you have to scale it out, because if you keep it for yourself, of course, you're back to square one. So you need to have the ways of putting the solution into the wild with some ways of protecting it. And protecting ideas and solutions for us is not very often is not patenting anything, is about publication, is about sharing. So when you publish, when you share, you still protect your idea, you protect the intellectual property, you protect your personal value, but you share these values and these ideas with much broader communities. And there are many ways of doing this. Of course, you know about open source, open access. There are many mechanisms that we embrace and we adopt as much as possible. So this is our process, and we have a number of channels, a number of mechanisms to create to implement this process. In the IT department, this is a representation of a number of those projects. We have internal projects to improve our services, the services we provide to the community. We have knowledge transfer projects where we try to apply our ideas to other domains than physics. There are high-level CERN programs, for example, the Quantum Technology Initiative that was born from Openlab a few years ago, is today a CERN-wide innovation program. There is a CERN Openlab that we'll tell you a bit more in a moment. And we have, we continuously look for strategic partnerships with other international organizations, with international initiatives and entities in order to build together innovation and scientific progress on a very wide, very broad base. And there are, of course, also mechanisms like EC-funded projects or national funding projects, which very often are targeted to producing innovations in very specific fields. So this is what we do in our team, in our unit, in the innovation part. But this is we manage this process, but innovation again doesn't come from us; it comes from everybody. So everybody at CERN, everybody in the IT department, no matter how senior or junior they are, is part of this innovation process. And we expect from you as well to be able to be part of this in the coming weeks and to contribute with your ideas, your insight, your enthusiasm, and your curiosity in bringing value into this project. So what about CERN Openlab? So CERN Openlab is specifically the project, the program that establishes collaborative research and development projects with industry or with other universities or research labs, but in order to look at how technology evolves in our communities, but also outside CERN, and try to understand how this technology applies to high-energy physics and how we can contribute to improving upon this technology. So it's a continuous exchange of expertise and new ideas between CERN and the research world and the industry and academia outside CERN. So Openlab was created now more than 20 years ago. As I mentioned, I've been responsible for this for the past 12 years. Normally, we work in phases of 3 years. Every 3 years, we look again at the external conditions, at the challenges, at what researchers are looking for, and we run new projects, so we build new ideas and new collaborations. So today we are in the middle of the 7th phase. The 7th phase started last year in January 2021, and will last until the end of next year, in December 2023. And then we will restart the process again. So Openlab is based on 4 main areas. The big part, of course, is the technology and science area. So we set up projects together with companies and universities and other labs to test technology, to develop new technologies, to apply technologies, to understand how these technologies can be evolved for scientific research, to support scientific research. Of course, a very important part is about communication. I will tell you more in a moment, which is not just a scientific communication. Is really trying to demonstrate, to publish, and to be very clear about what we do and why we do it and what the benefits of doing this are for many different communities. The innovation and knowledge transfer part is also very important. We do this in collaboration with the Knowledge Transfer Office at CERN. And this is really about understanding how to transfer ideas and technology we produce for high-energy physics into other domains, like medical research or climate research or finance or other domains where the same solutions can be applied to very similar problems. And finally, education, which is very much the reason why you are here today. And this is for us, education is very important because all the projects in high-energy physics last for many years. The Large Hadron Collider, the discussion to have a Large Hadron Collider started in the 80s or beginning of the 90s, and the collider was built at the beginning of 2000 2006, 2008. And it will run at least until 2035, 2040. And then new colliders will have to be built and new ideas will have to be produced. But this is really generational. When I joined CERN, the previous experiment, the lab, was just in the last year. So I came to CERN when the lab experiments finished, the lab accelerator stopped. And I've been here through the construction phase of LHC. And when I retire, actually, I will retire before the LHC stops. And probably I will not see the next accelerator in place, which is probably, if everything goes well and if the funds become available, it will enter in operation in around 2080, something like this. So this is really the next generation. And in order to create these long-lasting endeavors, long-lasting collaborations, we need to keep talking and training and motivating the next generations of scientists and researchers to be able to work in these conditions, to be able to work in multidisciplinary fields, in long-term projects, international collaborations, multicultural collaborations. It's something that really you don't learn, you cannot learn easily at university, of course. You have to experience yourself directly. And the summer student program is one of the mechanisms we have to do that. So for us, it's an investment on the future of the community, and we hope that for you is an investment on your career and your future as well. So this is a sort of a representation of a number of collaborations we have today. So this is mainly industrial providers, technology providers, but there are quite a few universities and research labs involved in our projects. And they cover the full data-driven process from data acquisition through the infrastructure, so computing, storage, databases, all the aspects of distributed computing and storage, networks, security, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and more, future technologies as well. So today in CERN Openlab, we have 4 main areas of investigations. One is what we call exascale technologies, and this is all about computing and storage infrastructure, but really moving towards the future exascale, level infrastructure, so exabyte storage, exaflops computing. And we need to understand how to work in this heterogeneous infrastructure, where heterogeneous is both from the computing architectures, CPU, GPUs, TPUs, IPUs, dedicated machine learning and deep learning architectures, is neuromorphic computing, is quantum computing devices, and everything that in between. But it's also about having mixing all of this in a constructive, efficient infrastructure where you move your computing and your data sets from on-premise to cloud to HPC and back, and you mix and match the different requirements and the different architectures to extract the last drop of performance and the last drop of functionality from everything that is available outside, and keep this, of course, progressing. The second area is the applications that go on top of this heterogeneous infrastructure, and mainly artificial intelligence applications. When I say artificial intelligence, I use the word a bit incorrectly. So it's not artificial intelligence general, and certainly not the general artificial intelligence. It's more restricted, is the more numerical type of artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning. But we are talking about pretty advanced concept. Is not the community has been working with statistical machine learning for many years. We are now exploring applications of deep learning and of very large scale methodologies, GPT-3 or foundational models, and trying to understand how to scale up these models across the distributed infrastructure. The third area is the next generation technologies, and specifically quantum computing. So the Quantum Technology Initiative at CERN covers computing, covers sensors and nanotechnologies, covers communication and networks, and covers, of course, theory and direct quantum simulation. But specifically in Openlab, we deal with the quantum computing aspects, how quantum computing can be introduced in the experiments and accelerator workflows to improve what we do, to go beyond what as it is often said, to go beyond what is classically possible today, beyond the limits of the computational efficiency of classical architectures. And the fourth area is multidisciplinary collaborations. How much of what we do and learn in the three first areas can be translated, transformed, shared with other communities so we can work together on common solutions for high impact, especially in society effects, so medical research, climate, and so on. So all of you, most of you, but certainly we'll have to do with some of this. So all the projects that we give to summer students are very concrete projects deployed in one of these areas, and you will have certainly the possibility of experiencing hands-on how some of these projects work and what their objectives are. As I said, knowledge sharing is very important. Some of the projects that you have been given are in this sharing area, especially medical applications and climate applications are today very important for us. CERN has high-level programs to support medical research and climate. Not as domain experts, we are not medical researchers, we are not climate experts, but the computing challenges are very, very similar, and we want to collaborate with other communities to improve the way we compute at large scale, at very large scale. So this is something, again, we do in collaboration with KT, and some of you are involved in that. Communication is very important as well. Andrew, Alexia, Anastasia will tell you more about this in the coming days and weeks. But you will be involved in some of this. And, we have a very active, not only scientific publication stream, of course, but also, as I mentioned, a very active presence in social networks and many different channels to explain what we do and to explain the benefits of what we do. So you are encouraged to interact. There are some rules, there are some constraints that have to be respected. And again, the communication team will tell you more. But please feel free to express your ideas, your enthusiasm, the work you do in the way you feel comfortable with. And finally, something I would like to tell you is the summer student program. Enrica mentioned some of this. This is you can see the trend of candidates and selected people. So the summer student program started a few years ago, almost at the very beginning of CERN Openlab. But of course, it had a big increase after 2012. 2012, you might remember, is the year where the Higgs boson was discovered and announced. So after that, the importance of computing for high-energy physics and fundamental research became very, very apparent, much more clear, much clearer than it was in the past. So the number of applications for our dedicated computing programs, and especially in CERN Openlab, had a big, increase in visibility. And we have been since then between these levels of numbers of candidates, between 1,500 and almost 2,000 candidates. Of course, there was a big dip in the past couple of years, as we mentioned. But today we are back to the best of the range, very beyond 1,800 candidates for about 32 selected candidates. And Enrica mentioned this, and I think so. This is already a big achievement. I think just for this you should be proud of yourself. The selection is very competitive, and it's one of the most competitive programs that I know of. And this is already an initial achievement. But now you have to prove yourself. You have to demonstrate to us that we were not wrong in selecting you, and you have a number of weeks to do that. And again, as I mentioned, always enjoying yourself, but take this seriously. You will be part of real projects, expecting real contributions with real, scientific discipline and rigor in terms of understanding the problem, assessing, literature and what exists, the state of the art, and advancing the state of the art within the scope of a 2 months project, but still something that we expect in some way to be able to use at the end. And you will have a couple of opportunities also to show this visibly, practically, because at the end of the summer student program, there will be an opportunity for everybody to explain what you have done and why you have done it, and the solution you're proposing, the next steps, the impact, and so on. And so this is a sort of a mini workshop that we're organizing in September in front of your peers and people from CERN. And the other part is that all the projects at the end will are expected to be published as official CERN publications and are considered usable scientific literature that is referenced and published and assigned a unique identifier as any other peer-reviewed publication. So this is it from me. I gave you a very high-level view of what Openlab is and why we do this and why we do this with you as well. So again, enjoy the summer, enjoy everything of it, and enjoy being here, enjoy the environment, and enjoy working together. Talk to as many people as possible, But again, this is a rigorous project, and give the most you have, take the most you can, and give the most you have. And I'm very sure, as it happened in the past 15 and more years, so you will really enjoy the summer, and you will come out of this, somewhat different, I hope. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And I really welcome you again and hope to see you soon in person at CERN.
Okay, thank you, Alberto. So I know that Alberto has to leave for another meeting, but I will collect the questions you might have, and we can maybe distribute or answer online. Okay? Thank you, Alberto.
Thank you.